Okay, sir. I think we're live. Let me fix my restream real quick. Go to my page. Fix the stream that's only going to our people. We'll go to the public. This is getting old, restream. The fact that you don't allow the stream to go out automatically is getting old. All right, man. We on the air, 1585 show, Friday night. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're here with us on Facebook, appreciate you. Share if you want. Or just hang out with your fellas, man. If you're on Periscope, we got a couple weeks left for you guys. If you're on Twitch, holla at the fellas. This ain't it. Where's my other one? There it is. All right, cool. All right, man. 1585 show. What we got? Where's my slate?
You got a good show tonight.
NBA playoffs. Oh no, man. Don't look good for the Bucks. the Olympics. I mean, do they want to have us there or not? No fans now. Brothers talking about boycotting, not watching the Olympics in a couple of weeks. A lot of questions. Bruin talk. The late great our coach Terry Donahue passed away recently. Going to have a couple of best TD stories. Rachel Nichols and the Maria Taylor story is not going away. And you said, are sports better with black faces? This week's Black Girl Magic, Zalia Avant-Garde. Not only is she the spelling bee champ, she's a baller. Right. Renaissance woman, man. 1585 show. Let's go.
Probably busy right now.
Yeah, my wife said, Otto's still working? It's like, yeah, Otto took that little silver medal and did he get a gold medal in the World Championships?
No, he got he don't have. I don't think he has any gold. I think he got gold in Greece in the 200. I want to say that, or I think he won a gold medal in the 200. I'm not for sure.
That wasn't the Olympics. That was World Championships.
That's a possibility.
I mean, he always had a great start. I'm pretty sure he had a couple of wins. James Mack. Sometimes I see James Mack avatar and I'm like, man, Tupac. James Mack looked just like Tupac. But it is Tupac. So I imagine James Mack is a big Tupac fan. It must have been Tupac's birthday because I've heard a bunch of Tupac songs on the radio recently.
I know some years ago they used to have Tupac Wednesdays or something like that on one of the radio stations. So Wednesday at noon they played Tupac.
Why is Tupac not ever regarded as a GOAT, one of the GOATs of rap?
Yeah, he is. We always hear people have that debate.
I don't hear Tupac getting a lot of first place votes. I always hear Jay-Z and Nas and Biggie. They don't give Cube no love. They don't give Pac. They don't give Snoop.
It's always an East Coast bias on a lot of things. I mean, then gangster rap sometimes ain't everybody's flavor. I know I listened to it because it was what we were raised around, but that's not what I subscribe to as a hip hop artist. Well, not a hip hop artist, a hip hop music lover.
Connoisseur. All right, man. NBA playoffs, man. Suns up 2-0. I had the Bucks winning in 6. I have totally reneged on my prediction. I actually had Drew Holiday winning the MVP because I wasn't sure if Giannis was going to be able to play.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing what I've seen, it looks like Budenholzer doesn't coach when Giannis plays. He just sits back and hopes he can pull it together as a one-man show. What are your thoughts, man? First 2 games, going back to Milwaukee. Suns up.
Phoenix held court. I mean, they had the best record. They had home court advantage. They just did what you're supposed to do: win at home. The games aren't these blowouts as the media making it seem. They've been pretty competitive. I mean, Giannis didn't play well. Game 1. Well, let me not say play well because he had 20 and 17. And what world is that playing bad? He didn't take a lot of shots, maybe tentative on that knee. But Drew Holiday has been pretty disappointing in his first 2 games. I mean, I'm with you. I'm a big Drew Holiday fan. He's a Bruin. I thought that he could compete, but Chris Paul is reinvigorated, man. Chris Paul looks great out there.
Killing it.
And Booker looks great. I mean, the backcourt is winning. I mean, when you look at that Phoenix starting 5 versus the Bucks starting 5, the only advantage is Giannis for the Bucks. Everybody else is a lesser player, and it shows, man. I mean, PJ Tucker just disappears. If he's not knocking down corner threes or trying to play bully, he's ineffective. And Bridges showed up last night. I mean, he dominated for a second. Booker's been CP3 has been nice. Ayton has been doing what he's supposed to do. No big man down there can check him.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the moment so far of the first 2 games has been Monty Williams coaching.
Mm-hmm.
That exchange that he had with Ayton about going out there and dominating the game with force. Don't worry about your stats. Do what you can do with your force and be who be a player. You set a bar high, now go achieve that bar. That is just great coaching. Sometimes it ain't even about the X's and O's. It's just about what can a coach bring out of a player, get them to do something. Sometimes players we're thinking that we're playing our hardest and our best, and we just need that little recalibration of, hey, this is what you can do to help this team where you can be good on this day. And that's exactly what Monty Williams seems to be doing. He's out coaching. Milwaukee's not making shots either. So no matter what the coaching is doing, Milwaukee's not making shots. They're even though when you look at the numbers, they're shooting 45% and Phoenix is shooting 46%. So it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
It's just that the adjustments when it comes to certain things, it's just Phoenix seems to be faster to the ball. They seem to be the sharper team. They seem to want it more. And, that's sometimes a big difference. Like Phoenix is like, this is our opportunity. This is a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in years. Missed the playoffs even though they went on a 10-0 run in the bubble. They just carried that momentum, and I think they're really feeling themselves, and then that's a good thing.
Well, I look at the box score. It jumps out that they don't have the balance. This is the Bucks. They don't have the balance when Giannis plays. Because you figure if it's 42 and 12, renders Middleton scoring 11 points and Holiday scoring 17 points. Brook Lopez just completely goes away with 8 points. Then you skim down to the Phoenix Suns, 27, 23, 31, 11, and 10. That's distribution, man. They found a way to play with a ball-dominant player like Booker by having a CP3 being the playmaker and scorer in clutch situations. Right now, this team looks as good. This team reminds me of the 2010 Dallas Mavericks. Just a perfect team for the moment. Like they're just good right now, man. I don't see how the Bucks can beat them at this point. They are playing really good, and you got 3 guys over 20, 25. I mean, 23 basically is 25, and Chris Paul had a somewhat off night for what he's been doing recently. It's a team game, like James Mack is saying, team game. I believe the Bucks will win the next one, but I think the next 2 will go to the Suns. It'll be Suns in 5. Unless Brook Lopez finds a way to get involved, so there can be a double whammy with bigs versus Ayton, because you know what Lopez did to Atlanta by inserting himself one time, had a monster game, but 8 points on 4 of 10 shooting. Again, everyone's watching the Giannis show, so that's not going to win. That's how the Bucks have been getting beaten the last four seasons, is they've been watching the Giannis show. They got to get other guys involved and not sit back and watch the two-time MVP try to make it happen by himself. It's not going to work that way. It's very much a team game, like James Mack said.
Yeah, I mean, I hear your point. The distribution, I just think it's just missed shots. I mean, you look at the box score. Middleton took 16 shots. That's about his average for a game. Drew Holiday was 7 of 21 in the last game. I mean, that's not going to get it done when you miss 14 shots. You know, you shoot 33% from the field. So Drew shot 33. Middleton shot 31% from the field.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it with Giannis going for 68% from the field, 15 to 22. So, I mean, it's tough. They're also doing kind of the yak at Giannis. Even though Giannis, I mean, he ain't going 80, 90% from the free throw line, but he was 11 of 18 yesterday. So he's kind of making them pay. You can't just hack at Giannis, but they got to make shots. Like they say, it's a make or break shot league. You know, when what made Golden State so good in all those years when they had their run was that they made shots. You know, they had 2 to 3 guys that can just hit shots. And we see that these guys aren't that caliber of shot makers. Middleton's not that caliber. To me, Middleton's a better Michael Redd, if anybody can remember Michael Redd.
Michael Redd was a baller.
Yeah, but he's a better Michael Redd, and I wouldn't count on Michael Redd or Middleton to win me games, even though they did. But they also beat a hobbled Atlanta. Atlanta was without DeAndre Hunter. Our guy Ice Trey was injured. He was hobbled. So it wasn't like they beat Atlanta that was at a full strength. I just think that Milwaukee has survived the playoffs. Brooklyn got hurt. Atlanta got hurt, and they're here. I mean, but you could say the same thing about Phoenix. Clippers were hurt. Lakers were hurt. So
yeah, injuries are
Denver was missing. You know, so I mean, to me, both of these teams they've survived, and they're going to. I don't know, man. I think Milwaukee will win 2 of 3 in Milwaukee.
So no sweep.
So I don't see a sweep because I just think that Phoenix can't keep getting the performances that they get. They're gonna get at some point inconsistent. If you've seen the Clippers team with Mann and Reggie Jackson killing them, you know, it's Budenholzer gonna have to make some adjustments. If he don't make adjustments, yeah, they could get swept. Those got to be the adjustments. Y'all got to go at these guys. Got to get in the paint. You know, we got to use our size. They have more size than Phoenix. Just use your advantages, man. And then Giannis hopefully is 100% healthy and they'll push it. I mean, it will be a great story to see Monty Williams get one, but I do want to see a good series. You know, I want to see at least 6 or 7 games out of this. I just don't see a sweep. I just think Giannis is too good. I think Holiday has too much pride. Middleton have too much pride to get swept.
So somebody posed the question, are the Bucks better without Giannis? It sounds crazy, but they play a better brand of ball.
I just think more people are comfortable taking shots. I mean, when you play with a star player, there is pressure to make shots because if you don't make your shots, you might not get the opportunity again. When that star is out, now I feel a little bit more free to take shots. I wouldn't necessarily say they're better. I think over time you would see that team would not be better without Giannis. In small stretches, yeah, but in long stretches, no. I mean, without Giannis, that team's a 7 seed, if that. But with Giannis, I mean, just think, you know, like once again, you know, when you have a star player, like you're not supposed to take more shots than Kobe. You're not supposed to take more shots than Jordan. LeBron's a little bit different. He doesn't care about somebody taking more shots, you know, because he can affect the game in different ways. But usually the star player gets his shots. And Giannis has to get his shots. I mean, you've seen in game 1, he didn't get his shots. They were in it. They got pulled away from late. And then in this game, even though he was getting his shots, his supporting cast wasn't making shots. I mean, 42 and 12 is nothing to slouch at. And if Middleton at least can get you 20, Drew Holiday can get you 20, they're in that game. You know, that's say both of them had 20 points. That's 12 points. They lost by 10.
Right.
That's 12 points they had. And they lost by 10. So I just think that they gotta have their headed monster gotta perform.
True that. All right, man. Switching gears, the Olympics. Just heard the last few days the Japanese government made an emergency decision that there will be no fans allowed in the stands for the Olympics. Would you still want to play or still want to run if you knew there would be no fans at the Olympics?
I mean, I'm a little bit different cat. As much as I would love to have fans and love to perform in front of a crowd, I'm there to win the championship. You know, I'm there to get a gold medal, whether they got fans there or not. It's been brewing for a while now. The Japanese people, they've had COVID has kicked up in Japan. They've had more outbreaks. The numbers are rising. They're feeling that bringing in foreign athletes ain't gonna help the situation. You know how Olympics get. We had the Olympics here in '84,
Crazy.
and it was crazy.
Crazy
It was
crowds.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you know you're gonna have all these, you know, what could have been foreign fans, which I'm quite sure they're not bringing all these foreign fans now, are going to be there. But you know, just to have these athletes competing in such an environment, you know, at some point you can section them off and and have them in the Olympic Village, but at the same time, Japan loses money because all the money they would have made at the venues.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get bored out and do something and put the whole jeopardy. You know how that works. You can't control thousands of athletes like that. Somebody's going to go, I can't take this no more, and they're going to hit Japan, because that's one of the best things about being in the Olympics. Every 4 years, as an Olympian, you go to another country and sightsee and see the culture and do things like that. This will be that Olympics that won't have that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I wish they would change venues. Personally, I thought that they should have done that, but you run the risk, because we're still in the pandemic. You do run the risk of bringing outside people that might have something or do something or a different variant, and they infuse that into the society. So, I mean, they're gonna have the TV, hopefully the TV sponsorships, and people are going to watch. But as far as the money that they would have made at the venues, that sucks for Japan. But hey, I'd rather have people live and you lose money than you just have everybody in the crowd there. Next thing you know, you spread this pandemic, and then next thing you know, we're on lockdown again because we want to have global games.
Right.
So I'm cool with it, but I can perform either way. I've been coaching in high school under no crowd, so it don't matter.
Gardena, I ain't got no fans.
No fans.
But all right. So with that being said, the loss of revenue from concessions, ticket sales,
souvenirs,
is there a window if you and I are on the committee of the IOC? Do we change the venue? I mean, this is a big event, and this, you know, we missed a year, so we're a year behind. So the next Olympics will be in 3 years, not 4 years. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about what? How many millions of dollars are they going to lose? And is it 2 weeks? Hundreds of millions, right? 2 weeks away. Yep. 2 weeks away. The day before yesterday, I believe the ruling came down. There will be no fans. So I imagine there'll be less people trying to go to Tokyo. If they won't be allowed to go to the games, will they be allowed to be in the streets? Will they still have the tourists? They still have the people from different countries coming to Tokyo, but not allowed inside the stadiums? Is it too late to relocate this thing to a different venue? I know they probably won't. It won't happen. And if they can't relocate it, should they shut this thing down? I know you said you would run for the championships, but if they don't want us there, apparently it's a serious deal. Why is it still being held? Like, why is it still there? If it's like that, I mean, Sha'Carri ain't running. Who cares?
If they want to change venues, man, they should have did that months ago, man. Like I said, they've been talking about this for months. I was watching Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and that was one of his things. This was over a month ago. The people of Japan have been boycotting bringing the games there. The IOC knew this. Japan knew this. The world knew this if you're involved in the Olympics. So you could have just changed venues months ago. The venues in Brazil are still up, but I think Brazil might be having an uptake in virus cases too. In the United States, man, you got venues everywhere. You got venues, there's stadiums everywhere where you can run and do things like that. They could have held track and field in Oregon. You could have had the basketball here in LA. We got so many arenas. You know what I'm saying? You could have just sectioned the Olympics off. It wouldn't be the big Olympic village like you had. They could have sectioned it off. You could have had people all over the United States competing in athletics and getting this done in their own small little bubbles. We have the infrastructure to do it, all that stuff. But,
Because
I don't think that's what they wanted. I think Japan, I mean, they bid for these. These countries bid on these Olympics. They put tons of money. They, like I said, they bribe people. Well, we were talking about it, I think, last week. They bribe people. It's a lot of stuff that goes on. They're going to lose money, but at least they can have the games there. I think they feel like that's their consolation.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense, man. I was like, they don't want to have it, then don't have it. People change stadiums all the time.
Government ain't about the will of the people no more. It's about the will of the government. So people don't want it, but the government said, hey, this is going to make our country look better. We hosted the Olympics. It's just bragging rights. It's just saying we did this. We did something.
Okay. Well, no fans, but on the flip side, it will be televised. However, our girl Gabby Thomas, Harvard sprinter, is pleading with the black community to watch the Olympic Games. What say you in regards to, in support of Sha'Carri Richardson? The black community is saying we're not going to watch the Olympics, but Gabby Thomas says we still running, so please support us.
Mm-hmm.
Is this counterproductive for the black girl magic that we're expecting for the Olympics? I mean, what do you believe will be the outcome of this plea by Gabby Thomas?
I think Sha'Carri Richardson martyrdom is going to affect the black community, because once again is what's representing blackness. When black people see Sha'Carri Richardson, they see this young girl, obviously from the inner city. She has her ghetto. Let me not say ghetto. She hood. Ghetto's negative. Hood is she hood. She like your homegirl that went to Long Beach Poly that sat in your chemistry class.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't go start no mess, but she'll finish something.
She'll finish it.
Sha'Carri Richardson reminds us of that person. We've encountered that as a black community, where Gabby Thomases are rare. She's a Harvard grad, Harvard girl, so she's obviously smart. She talks proper. She doesn't seem to have any hood in her. Like, she's not the face of blackness. Sha'Carri Richardson's the face of blackness. She's the face of struggle, the face of our identity, where we're always searching for, we are multifaceted in our identities. She's the next up and coming face of American women's track and field because of her talent, but also because of her beauty and because of her je ne sais quoi. She brings out that imaginative of blackness. And when we look at Gabby Thomas, we should be supporting this woman. We should be supporting her hard. I mean, think about, she's a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about it. She's a great athlete. She's from an Ivy League school. She's getting her master's, a doctorate. She's getting her doctorate. I mean, so she's a unicorn out there. But a lot of times, black people don't identify with that, and I don't understand why. Because it's kind of like, well, she doesn't represent our struggle. She absolutely represents our struggle, because she's probably struggling in that field to get to where she's at. So I mean, also, we have also kicked aside other black women who, at least in track and field, who could be your face. Sydney McLaughlin could be the face. Dalilah Muhammad. I mean, we have at this time, we talked about this last week. 2 black women are the top 400-meter hurdlers ever in world history.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 times they stepped on the track, the world record has fallen. That should be our face. That should be what's going on, because of the exception. We're not even for sure Sha'Carri can even get on the medal stand for the 100 meters. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of elite 100-meter runners. Elaine Thompson just ran 10:73 the other day.
Right.
So even today, she ran 10:73. So, man, it's a struggle in that short race. And we have this young lady, Gabby Thomas, she's absolutely right. There's so many black women that are in these Olympics that's going to support it. Three long jumpers, our 4 hurdlers, our 400-meter runners, our 200-meter runners, gymnastics, swimming, tennis. We got it. We got it all. Come out there and these ladies, come out there and support these Olympians, man. These people need support. I don't care what race you are, because this is one of the hardest things to get. You can be in your prime for 3 years, the Olympic year come and you don't make it. And so now you got people boycotting because one runner didn't take care of her business. I think that's a little bit unfair for a lot of people in the Black community to say that, because there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
We love the Olympic Games. And my favorite Olympic woman isn't even in victory. It's the UK runner in the Barcelona Games who hurt himself in a race, and his father came on the track and helped him down, man. So,
well, it goes back to marketing and promotion. What James Mack is alluding to, a lot of people don't know about everyone else. It's sad, but it's the truth. So we have a media darling. You love her or hate her, Sha'Carri Richardson. She's viral. Everything she does is magnified. Now she's in a little bit of trouble, is magnified 10 times over, which overshadows every other race, every other runner. I mean, there are male runners. We just saw, my wife and I watched Brumel and those guys run the 100 just now. And I forgot where they were, but they were running as they prepare for the Olympics. There were a lot of talent out there, but why is it that we only know about Simone Biles, Sha'Carri Richardson, maybe what's the young lady in the pool, Simone Manuel. We see a few glimpses of some marketing, but there are a lot more athletes who need promotion. So that falls back on, well, who we are tabbing as our darlings and our hopefuls. And I think we've done a terrible job promoting the other athletes. We've been pretty lazy. Just going ahead and go with Sha'Carri. She has tattoos, she has eyelashes and colorful hair. And then she gets in trouble. Great, even more stories to write. What about the other? Like, I haven't seen any stories on Allison Felix. I haven't seen any stories on the young lady from USC, the hurdler who made the Olympics.
Yeah.
So there's some work to be done as far as promotion, and it kind of reminds me of the WNBA, is that they do a terrible job promoting the games and making these names, these household names that they could be in Olympic year. Like, I think the last time they did a great job promoting was I want to say 84 Olympics with the gymnastics team. I knew more members of the gymnastics team that year than I ever did know. And even the swimmers, like, Greg Louganis and them kind of people, like they were household names, and it just was an effort made. It just seems like right now they're being a little bit lazy. And I heard more about Usain Bolt in the last 8 years than I've heard about any American sprinter. I mean, you heard of Justin Gatlin and them guys, but can they beat Usain Bolt? That was the story. Yep. So it's a little bit disheartening a little bit. Sean?
Yeah, it's hard to promote track and field because as global of a sport it is, there's only a contingent of people who really watch track and field outside the Olympics. Like, I'm quite sure you've watched World Championships.
Yeah.
I know I've watched all the World Championships since Michelle Perry won the hurdles, I think 06. So I mean, I'm always in the track and field, but that's mainly because I ran track and field. So a lot of people aren't into it. Are they just waiting for the media to say this is who you should cheer for? Throw your support behind Carl Lewis, or throw your support behind Gail Devers. That's what it seems like they're waiting for, instead of getting into the sport and doing that. I mean, track meets can be boring if you want to understand the nuance of it. But I mean, every track meet I've been to, I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy watching them on TV. So it has to be something you're into. It's almost like golf. You know what I'm saying? If you're not into golf, you don't understand the game. Golf will be super boring.
Right.
Or there's no Tiger Woods or a Rory McIlroy who's a big name. Nobody's gonna really watch. Like, even with Wimbledon, it's hard to watch Wimbledon. Once Coco Gauff exited, I kind of lost my interest in it. And that's something that we'll transition to a little bit later about, do black faces make sports better? Yeah. So sometimes it's about getting more media coverage. It seems like the media cares more about our about certain sports more than they care about others. Let's just say that. They care more about basketball and football. Those are the two most controversial sports, even boxing a little bit, sometimes even UFC. They don't talk much about baseball. You might get the baseball highlights, but we don't hear nothing much about baseball unless there's the cheating scandal that we had a couple of weeks ago. But other than that, man, we don't talk about these players as larger than life players anymore. It's always basketball and football.
That's kind of like lazy, man. It's like lazy broadcasting. My guy Mark Michelson makes a point. Controversy sells commercials. I do believe there's a space for feel-good stories, man. I think there is a space for the Dan and Dave campaign. You remember that?
I remember that.
Remember
Yes.
that? And you know, and I think they both came up short.
Yeah.
I remember was it Dan that couldn't complete the pole vault at the lowest level and continue in the actual, but that was something that we were primed, like they prepped us for that. We got lured in to watch the Dan and Dave competition by Reebok. And we watched them. I never watched a decathlon before that. I mean,
Nope.
Going way back to Bruce Jenner, but Dan and Dave made you want to do the decathlon. I'm like, well, shoot, I'm pretty good athlete. I can do the decathlon except for that pole vault. Everything else I would have been good, but I can do the what was the lowest level? Was it 15 feet? I believe it was something pretty low where the pole actually reached as high as the bar. So all he had to do was clear it with the pole, and he couldn't do that. And that kind of must kill my dream of doing a decathlon. I was like, yeah, if he can't do it, I'm not doing it. But Mark makes a good point. Rio in the house. Rio says, I would like to see some pub on this year's dream team. I wouldn't call them a dream team. I would just say the American basketball team. I think they're going to get beat. There are some good teams internationally with some NBA talent on it. So I think they're not going to have a cakewalk. This might be a silver medal year. We'll have to wait and see. Mark,
which isn't bad because the rest of the world is catching up to us in basketball. I mean, look at Luka, man. Luka's a top 10 player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
He's what, third year? So it's tough. And he got his team to the Olympics. Canada should be disappointed. They have all these NBA players and couldn't even get to the Olympics.
Wow.
So that's the disappointment.
Yeah, he said
anybody's disappointed.
He said there's no center on the squad. With Bam Adebayo is the only center, and he's 6'9". Well, they're gonna play against Rudy Gobert and them. There's going to be some size in the Olympics, so we'll wait and see. About the media and not being able to create storylines, he says there's a lack of media content right now. It takes effort to write a story and produce a short video. In this day and age where camera phones are 4K and video editing is relatively easy, no excuse for not creating content and feeding it to ESPN. It's the want to of the TV networks, the producers. Do they want these numbers? Do they want these stories? Do they feel it's necessary, or do they think the games sell themselves? Who wants to put forth that effort?
Well, also it's a limit on the media too. When we watch, I mean, I know I still kind of wake up and watch ESPN in the morning, First Take and Undisputed. They don't have good content when it comes to, they talk about the same stuff over and over again. Sometimes I find myself, because I record it so I don't have to see the commercials, and I just see myself fast forwarding before I know what the episode is over in like 20 minutes, because there's nothing really, they constantly bring up the same things. If they incorporated or sports, you know what I'm saying, they didn't even hockey. Don't you know the NHL playoffs just finished? Tampa Bay Lightning are champs. I mean, if you don't pay attention, you wouldn't know.
You missed it.
So sometimes you missed it. So a lot of times the content that's being served to us isn't enough, especially in a time, and we're busier people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can check my phone, but I also want to read a story about the NHL. I want to hear about the Tampa Bay Lightning. What's the story behind the Tampa Bay Lightning? Why did they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals? Why were they so good this year? You know, I want to see that. We don't even have the hockey rivalries like we used to. You know, remember some years ago, the San Jose Sharks and the Kings, man, they were going at it, and it was on TV, and we seen it, the Sharks and the Kings. You don't see nothing about hockey no more. They don't even show hockey fights on highlights that much no more. It's just but they,
how are they maintaining?
We're limited.
How are they still? Do the Kings even have a team? Like, I haven't seen the Kings highlight in years. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I mean, I used to enjoy hockey because video games introduced us to hockey. In college, we played NHL. I want to say '94, and
94.
Jeremy Roenick was a good player on the game.
Yep, he was on my. That was my team. The Chicago.
Yeah,
Hawks. I used Roenick.
Yeah, everybody used Roenick, and everyone was like a cheat code with Roenick. But it's, and we played. Big O was like, if I can't beat the Rangers, I ain't playing. It's crazy, man. But I do believe it's the production, the producers, the networks. They're, I mean, it doesn't have to be controversy, but it sells, and that's kind of what we're a victim to. Is this what they give us what they give us, and we have to accept it. We have to find those stories ourselves. We have to watch and look between the lines and see what else is being shared and what else is happening in these games. We got to do our own research, which is pretty terrible if you ask me. What James talking about? James says, like baseball, our community has limits on everything. They don't want us because we would start dominating. It's just the way it is, man. I mean, you start allowing, a lot of diversity, and then eventually you won't have the purity of the game anymore. And I believe this starts back with the Tokyo contingency. They don't want to see that Sha'Carri tearing up that track out there. What did Drake say? Because she would have ate. She would have ate.
Of course we would have been behind her and we'd been cheering for her. And but I just think her story has taken away the luster of the anticipation of these games. On top of what's going on there, we're just taking away the luster of the games. I mean, because we won't see one of our best out there, and that's one of the best in the world. We're not just talking about in the United States, one of the best in the world. She won't be able to compete. And like I say, with Olympics and Olympic sports, man, shoot, she might be good for the next 2 years and then fall off. And she never gets this opportunity again. So, I mean, God forbid that happens. But, this is how it is. And they'll be putting another face up there. They'll have another person up there. Shoot, it might be my daughter one day up there. Who knows? Yeah. It could be anybody, So you just got to take advantage of this, man. I feel bad for her that she made a bad mistake. For Olympic rules is a bad mistake. For life, that's the minor of the minor offenses. She got high. Mm-hmm. So, they're going to change the rules. I'm quite sure they're going to revisit these rules in the next couple of years, and they're going to hold the Olympics in Jamaica, and it's going to be a smoke fest.
If the games were being held in Jamaica, Sha'Carri would be running. It would be like, we're all high mind. We're all high mind. No big deal. No worries. I remember Cody Paul. Cody Paul was an internet sensation out of Los Al. 5 million views. Now he's up to 11 million views. He was a little running back, and he had the best highlight tape. And he put the link in the chat, and that just goes to show, with a little effort and somebody pushing the envelope to push out that video, you create buzz, you create intrigue, and people now want to come see the kid play. That happens for every sport. The kid is 17 years old running the 200-meter dash. Why is he not on every other commercial? He went pro, so you can pay him now, right? Why is he not? No, the kid from the kid that just placed in the 200 for the Olympics. 17 years old.
Oh, the kid that ran 19. He ran like 1988.
Yeah, that's a story, man. That's a story in itself. Why is it not more mainstream?
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe they need to put me on the marketing team, just like the WNBA. I'll get that thing cracking. Chatomo says, you would think they would have more coverage on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning. You would think.
You would think.
That's too much like the right thing to do.
But also, we don't have larger-than-life figures anymore. We don't have the Mark Messiers no more, the Jeremy Roenick's, the Mario Lemieux. We don't have those guys no more, man. We don't know these hockey players. I don't know hockey players. I follow hockey.
But why is that? They got all-stars, right? They gotta make us. They gotta make us like these dudes. They gotta find a way to get the common fan to be intrigued. I mean, is there a goon that we can relate to? He got 3 teeth, and he's from the inner city, and he's on the team roughing people up, and he protects his superstar. Like, I can't name you any superstars in the NHL. That's not good.
Yeah, I can't.
But
I can't.
You know, I think just like soccer, it's just not American pastime. It's a big sport.
Well, soccer, yeah.
But soccer is, you know, when Lexi and them retired and Kobe Jones retired and, you know, all the stars retired, they have to make new stars. They have to somehow create this platform to show the up and coming new. Like the NBA does a great job of creating the next tier, the next group that's going to carry the league to the next level. I think a lot of these leagues are being a little bit lazy and keeping it really safe, not tabbing anybody to the next grade. I think they're keeping it real generic. Like we should know at least 2 players on the Tampa Bay Lightning. A common fan should know they're 2-time champs. I ain't seen a commercial. I ain't seen a Sprite commercial. I ain't seen a Subway commercial with any of these guys. I don't know. Yeah. It's just lazy to me. What's up, Jen? Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jen.
Happy birthday, Jen.
Mark says, sports are like movies. You have to present a personal story and get the audience to like or hate it. The characters without a personal story is just another set of reps and a punt or a score. I agree, Mr. Mark Michelson. I agree.
Totally agree with
that's
that.
kind of what the WNBA is missing. Stories. Stories. Real.
And the WNBA, the sad thing about that, they have plenty of stories. We were just talking about the beef between your girl,
Skylar Diggins,
Scott Diggs, and the other girl, Taylor. They have a whole little beef.
Now
they should be pumping that up.
Oh man, when they play that game, that's gonna be on the mind. That's on the calendar.
Liz Cambridge.
Yeah.
She should. I mean, with the beef she had with the coach, they should be blowing that up.
Yeah.
Shoot, the Las Vegas Aces and the Seattle Storm are the 2 best teams in the league. That should be like prime time game.
Yeah.
That should be prime time game, but they don't do it.
They don't do it.
I don't get it.
Rio said, my concern is that marijuana is legal in the States, but yet Sha'Carri is banned from the Olympics for smoking weed. Wasn't the place she ran had legalized weed. You have to separate from the Olympic rules and American rules. Like, even if it was legal where she was, it's still Olympic year. Don't mess around. That's the lesson for everybody involved. She should get in instead. Yeah, you should have just had some alcohol. Like, alcohol is legal, right?
Yep, she could have drank all the drinking she want. Would have been all right.
We can't tell nobody how to cope. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna ride with you. You just can't run this year. I feel bad about it, but that's the rules. That's the rules. Rio likes my T-shirt. Yeah, lambda. I'm gonna try lamb. I'm gonna try lamb. Try lamb. You're welcome, Jen. All right, so the Olympics will be interesting, if nothing else, if we are, I don't know, entertained at all. It's going to happen in 2 weeks, whether we like it or not. All right, man. Our coach passed away the other day, Terry Donahue, and you posed the topic of best TD stories. All right, so you must have something in mind. The late great Terry Donahue recruited you from the Washington Prep, recruited me from Long Beach Poly to come to Westwood and play football. We had our moments and our time. We had our successes. We had our failures. What would you say is a story you want to share with the folks?
Man, TD was a Bruin through and through, man. You know, he took very great pride. You know, he has an infamous locker room hype job that he didn't do in Nebraska. He had us going, and then he didn't do it. But one of my most memorable things about Terry Donahue, like I say, he's a Bruin through and through. We're playing Stanford up in Palo Alto. This is 95. And we're down 21-7 at the half. I mean, we're making tons of mistakes on both sides of the ball. And he comes in the as we're going into the locker room as a Stanford heckler at our gate. Not only are we smarter than you, we're better athletes. And he says it's like 10 times. And TD goes over there. He comes in the locker room and he goes, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that, guy? They may be smarter than us, but they're not better athletes than us. We're not taking this. We're not taking this. We're gonna go out there and beat this team.
They might be smarter than us."
And I couldn't help but laugh in the moment. And I remember Toledo's like, "You think that's funny?" I'm like, "Dude, we're in the middle of a game, and he's worried about what the dude is saying at the fence." Now, we came out in the second half, and we blew the brakes off of them. We beat them, 42-28?
Right.
So they only scored once in the second half, and we scored 5 times in the second half. So we ended up beating the brakes off that team. And it was just dang. And
that's hilarious.
He had this way about him, like, if you're a receiver, and he's a receiver in those 2 years when Norm Anderson was a receivers coach, you had to run in with Norm. And Terry would come and he would just smooth things out, man. He would just smooth things out. And me and him were constantly having to smooth things out because there was times I know I just wanted to just punch Norm in the face. And I know that would have been into my scholarship. Like, I'm tired of this dude, man. This dude is
he's the worst.
He's off the chain. And my last story with Terry Donahue, and this has to do with his wife. I took some of my players to his last chance camp that he holds in Irvine every year. And I'm on the field, and his wife recognizes me. "Oh my God, one of my babies." And that's just how she said it. I didn't have many conversations with Terry Donahue's wife when I was there, but she goes, "One of my babies." She gives me a hug, and I just spend the rest of the day just walking around with her, talking about family, talking about life as developed, and it's just a compliment to him that he had such a great wife that went along with him and was there to support him, even in the last chance camp for high school students to get Division I, Division III scholarships, NAIA scholarships, and stuff like that. She's there in support, and you just go, man, that's the type of man that you want to be. That's the type of family man you want to be. And I wrote in my social media post, man, thank you for sharing this man with us. Yeah. He wasn't always the greatest person when it comes to X's and O's, but when it came to treating people like humans and being in the moment and being present in the moment, he was always there. He always knew what was going on, and I just really appreciated that about him.
Yeah, Javon Moore, Jay Moore. Typed in water, and that was our nickname for the late great Terry Donahue. And they said water hit, and he had a big head, and I didn't realize it until Donnie Edwards pointed it out to me. I was like, why we call him Waterhead? He said, "Have you ever looked at his head?" And I looked, I'm like, oh, he has a big head. And it wasn't proportionate because he had that long torso, but then he had them short legs, and he had that big old head and them Steve Sachs forearms. So I was kind of like, yeah, Waterhead. But my story, I've always giggled at the story of when the Mooley Chris Alexander wasn't eligible, but Wayne Cook was, and we had a walkout. And this might have been before you came to UCLA.
Oh, it was before me.
So we had the walkout, and organized by Jameer Miller and Avery Anderson and some of the Othello Henderson. And the story was Wayne Cook and Chris had the same class. They both failed the test, so they both were ineligible. And Friday, Wayne's eligible and Chris isn't. And we have a mutiny. And we say, "Hey, Coach, why is Wayne playing and Chris not?" And he says, "Well," he gave us that political answer. "Well, fellas, sometimes in life," and we were like, "That's how it's going to be." We stood up and walked out. And he's like, "Wait a minute, where you guys going?" We said, "We're out. If Chris ain't playing, we ain't playing." And we walked out of the meeting. And Donnie, he was like, "What are you guys doing? Wait, whoa. Hey, fellas. And we walked out to the tennis center. And all the black players were sitting in the tennis center. And Donahue comes in and faces us all like, "Hey, guys, what is this all about? What's going on?" And Avery Anderson stood up and says, "Hey, Coach, it's not fair that Chris is not playing and Wayne is." And it's very obvious they're in the same class, they had the same grade, and the quarterback gets to play and the running back does not. And we feel like, if you have that kind of juice to get Wayne eligible, we think you can do the same thing for Chris. They shouldn't have failed the class first and foremost, but they both failed the test. But I kid you not, that grade was changed by 4 o'clock, and Chris was playing that Saturday. And it's just like, well, it ain't the greatest story in the world, but it was a powerful moment, and it was just kind of like, Donahue was just forced to see us as a powerful unit as we all got up, even the sellouts, the guys that didn't want to do it. They were like, I don't know about this, guys. Like, man, you gotta come on. Every single, even like, Von Parker and them guys, they were the old vets, and they're like, no, everybody got to do it. And even some of the white players joined us, and we're like, we're not gonna make this a super racial thing, but it's very convenient that Wayne Cook is playing and Chris is not, and you have the power to make this right. They can make the test up, so whatever provision you made for Wayne, make the same for Chris, and he was fair enough to make that happen. So that was one fair moment that he was able to see himself and see that he was wrong and made it right. The other story is my own personal story, when I was getting screwed over and not getting any playing time, and I moved to defense. And my whole story about me moved to defense is well documented. That I told Coach Donahue, "You're crazy. Why would I move to defense when I'm going to be starting next year?" And that was my downfall. I never saw the field again until AJ Kristoff said, "You come play defense, you'll play." And I'm like, that's kind of a raw deal. I've never played defense before. Fast forward, I learned pretty fast, and I get some love, some playing time behind Sean Williams. And Sean Williams is a great player, but I still believe I deserve some playing time. And I'm playing hard, trying my best, killing myself out there trying to make plays. I'm making plays, still not getting no play. My mom says, what do you want to do? Are you going to transfer? Are you going to stay, or you stick it out? I said, I'm going to stick it out. I don't want you to come up here and make me, make a scene. So I'm just going to keep sticking it out. I think we played Miami. I didn't get any playing time, not even special teams. And I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. Come on up here, Mom. Do what you got to do. So Mom comes up to UCLA. Donahue was addressing the press. And my mom, 5'2", stands there with her arms folded up. Me standing next to her with my head down like a bad kid, like I'm in the principal's office. Just got off the practice field. My mom is like, "Mr. Donahue, may I have a word with you?" And he's like, "Hello, Mrs. Cobbs, good to see you again." And she's like, "It would be better on the better circumstances." And she's like, well, how can I help you? I mean, he treated her like he was recruiting me all over again. And she said, "Well, I have reason to believe that you're a man of your word." And he says, "Oh yeah, absolutely." He says, "Well, my son is not having the best time as far as playing time is concerned. And you told me in my living room that you would take care of my son. And at this moment in time, I'm not sure if you're doing that." And she says, "Well, Mrs. Cobbs, I'm glad you brought up that conversation, because this week he was going to start. I'm just the timing, everything." I was kind of like, I looked at him as he said it, and I'm like, "I'm starting this week? Come on, man. I ain't took no reps with the first team." You know what I'm saying? It was like, but the fact that he saw my mom and made a promise to her that he would make a change, he would change things, and he did. And I started the rest of the year. But I was like, it shouldn't have come to that. But I just thought that was, interesting that's how that went down. So I always thank my mom for standing up for me. But the fact that he saw her, like most coaches have a closed door policy. But he saw her, didn't ignore her, gave her 10, 15 minutes, hugged her, and wrapped his arm around her and made her feel good. And then I was sitting there, and he never came back to me and said, "You brought your mom to jack me up." She was just, it just happened that way. So I was appreciative, and I was like, it shouldn't have come to this, but it did. And but it was still, it was a reminder of, you told me one thing, that you would take care of him. And at this point, he's not happy, and his friends know he should be playing. He knows he should be playing, but you and your coaching staff don't think he should be playing. And she said, "Well, he's playing this week." And I was like, wow. Thank you for seeing me. But, it was an experience. And then I saw him years later at a golf tournament, and we had a conversation. And, he was like, aren't you glad you moved to defense? You got to play in the NFL. And I was kind of like, I guess you were kind of right, but still the way it went down, but we had a gentleman's conversation. It was always a respectful conversation. So I had no ill will. It was just like, you didn't give me a chance to play receiver, but it's okay. I got over it. And, it's like, it was a respect thing. And like I said, he was fair at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deacon Hill.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I know when he brought me in for a tryout for San Francisco, when I was right after I got cut from Chicago. The season was there about maybe 4 or 5 games in, and he brought me up for a tryout. He told me, I'll see what I can do. I'm gonna see what I can do to get you a part of this 49ers team. It took a while.
Yeah.
I had to go to Europe first, but I got signed like within, a couple of weeks of being in NFL Europe to the 49ers. Now, I should have said no.
Mm-hmm.
They had T.O., Jerry Rice, and J.J. Stokes.
You weren't going to make
so,
that team.
it wasn't like I was it, but, you take every opportunity you get. And I remember when I got cut, he brought me to his office. Usually he ain't trying to see nobody, but he brought me in. He asked me, is there anything I can do for you? And to get you going, get you on another team or get you going in life. And I just told him, no, man. I said, you know what? I'm ready to make my own path. Football's over for me. I realize that, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take care of my business, and you'll be proud of me, coach. And he was like, I've always been proud of you. So he was the last person I talked to out of my NFL journey when it came down. And I remember that night when I came home, my wife to be, eventually, we wasn't even dating then, took me to go see the Blair Witch Project, which made getting cut worse because I got motion sickness from the camera.
Oh man.
And
that's a terrible movie to watch after getting cut. You should have watched old great. You should have watched House Party or something. You should have watched something good. You gonna watch the Blair Witch Project? It messed your whole day up, man.
Messed the whole day. I was sick as a dog after that, man.
J Mo said TD had power at UCLA. He kept dirty laundry in house, so it didn't get out to the media. Yeah, he did. Because
he was beloved.
Yeah,
the media loved him.
Yeah,
that's one thing you can say. The media loved him.
Well, he was a politician. He played the game. He played it right. I will say this: the funnest week to play for Coach Donahue was SE week.
Scout scrimmage.
Oh man, he would let us wear his towels. He said you can grow facial hair. You can wear whatever you want to wear as long as we beat SC. I'm like, how come you don't
come out this whole uni high school uniform for Scout scrimmage one year?
Man, it was.
Did you do that, J-Mo?
I think J Moore did come out in his old orange and blue. It was fun, man. I'm like, this is what we came here for, is to let our hair down. You figure you had Othello had a towel down to his shoes, and Carlton Gray had 2 towels. Everybody grew their hair out, their facial hair. 'Cause we couldn't, before your time, we couldn't have more than a mustache. We were like the firemen. Yeah, he wouldn't let us have more than a mustache. That's why you look at the UCLA photo, press guy back in the day. Everybody's clean shaven, wearing them polo shirts, and having all them razor bumps because none of us shaved before. And we got to UCLA, he made us cut all our facial hair off like police officers. And you guys had them big Magnum PI mustaches. It was and he's like, SE week, all that stuff's out. Just beat SE. I mean, coming around, shaking everybody's hands and stretching, period. Being like chummy chum. He was wearing a hat backwards. He untucked his shirt. He was like, let it all hang out this week, fellas. Let's have a great week of practice. We got to beat SC. And we're like, wow. And you're like, my job depends on it. That was like the only joke he would tell. We're like, this is it. If we can beat them, our whole season is saved. That's terrible. And J Moore said, yep, blue and gold, blue and orange unis at SC week. So tear it down to you.
The best traditions. Wall.
The wall. Spring ball wall. Kenny easily started it. I believe who stopped it? Was it Jim Mora? Was it
No, Toledo stopped it. We didn't wall with Toledo.
Toledo stopped it. What was his
Yeah.
What was his ultimatum if we did it?
I don't remember what the ultimatum was, but I know he was like, when he had that first meeting after he took the head coach, that's one of the things he said. He said, we're not walling no more. We can't be wasting valuable practice time. And this is what we need because you guys don't want to practice and want to have a day off. No more walling.
You sure? Because I remember being a senior. Toledo's was our coach for our senior year, and we were like, we can't wall our senior year. I thought we still did.
Mm-mm.
We didn't wall.
We couldn't wall. The last time we walled was Aloha Bowl practice. That's the last time we walled that I can remember, at least. The Aloha Bowl practice. We walled.
That might be why we got whooped by Kansas. That one day of practice we missed, and you want to talk about practice? Not the game. Practice. Big O almost got killed on Sandy Beach. That's why we lost.
Sandy Beach was a monster.
Yeah, man. James Max said I always thought that was a look on them picks. Man, we used to hate shaving our beards. We didn't have a whole bunch, but we didn't know how to shave. So some of us used the Norelco, and Norelco ain't for brothers. Norelco will bump you up bad. So we was shaving our face with the Norelco, not cleaning them off, just sharing Norelco around the locker room.
Wow.
Everybody just using dirty blade. I think I used Jamal Clark's, and you know that thing was dirty. I bumped up so bad. I think Jamal passed it to Abdul McCullough. Abdul used it. You know how dirty Abdul was. And then everybody got bumps, man. And I was like, nah, from now on, I'm going to shave with my clippers.
Thank God I couldn't grow facial hair in college.
Jay Moore said, all of us.
Jamal Clark's easy. Jamal Clark is in here. What up, Clark?
Jamal had that Norelco. Jamal had that Norelco, and he was like, dude, use this. And he gave it to me, I think we all used Jamal's Norelco and got bumps all over here. You know it's true, Jay Clark, Jamal Clark in the house. My roomie. Where were we at? Sunset Village. And I was like, well, how are we going to shave these beards? He was like, use this. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It comes off real cool. The next day, ding, 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 ding. I was like, oh, my face is on fire. I need some alcohol.
Hey, man, if y'all want to see Jamal Clark, you got to watch The Water Boy. Jamal Clark is one of the greatest.
He actually has lines. He actually has lines. He can always get a date with that. You know I'm in Waterboy. It was Jamal, Tyrone. Was it Tyrone Pierce? Who was in that movie? Was Skip in it? Or was it just Tyrone and Jamal?
I think it was just Tyrone and Jamal. Yeah, man.
And you can watch Charlie Asaya and was it The Longest Yard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's sitting there next to Brucey in the Big Cat. Oh man, yeah, Carlton Gray and E.T. hoops in Wooden Center, man. E.T. had hops, man. I remember
E.T. was a stud.
E.T. used to just dunk on people, man. Seagrave's a lot more smooth. Seagrave was a lot smoother. You know, Jamal Clark had game too. He was an all-state basketball player. Yeah, we were young bucks. Yeah, Jamal, I was telling the story. I told my kids about that one time you got drunk and threw up in the dorm. And I was like, yeah, that was an ugly sight. Jamal drank everything. I think you were drinking. What were you drinking, Jamal? I think you messed around and had some Cisco.
Oh man, I got some of the worst Cisco stories ever, man. It was cheap. It was cheap and it worked.
Jamal says, he said, "Oh dear Lord." Hey man, I got some stories. Me and Jamal, man. Oh man, it's hilarious, man. I'll say that for another show. I gotta bring Jamal on the show and tell those stories, man. All right, man. Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor. At this point, damage control has been put in place. The PR machine is rolling. They're trying to, get Rachel Nichols, back in her good graces with the public. with the NBA players or whatnot. What's gonna be the outcome of this, man?
I see two outcomes. I see Rachel Nichols sticking around at ESPN. They're gonna just make her disappear. They might sage steal her for a while. We're gonna put you in the back burner
during the day.
But I mean, the main thing about this is the Maria Taylor thing. She's already in conversation about her contract. Her contract is coming up soon. And then to have Rachel Nichols say what she said, and Maria not wanting to work with Rachel anymore, that she can't be on the show. I mean, it just brings in the drama. It shows what's been going on and what's been brewing about ESPN for the past, 10 years now. The harassment, the inequities, and things like that. You would think that a show, a network who had one of the most famous black sports reporters or sports casters ever in Stuart Scott would try to work things out with more equity and do more things, and be a little bit better at what they're doing. The fact that Rachel Nichols said this stuff last year is just now getting out this year, and they still kept her around without any repercussions says a lot. But I think more so of it is what it's enough controversy to get rid of Maria Taylor. You know what I'm saying? And she does a damn good job. She's on College Football Game Day. She does the NBA broadcast. She has a show where she's talking. She does actually 4 jobs. The only thing she's asking for is a little bit more money. And it seems like this is just enough to get her up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, she's too controversial. I doubt they get rid of Rachel Nichols. She's ingrained, and we had Kwame Brown just put Rachel Nichols on blast too. So I think she's going to be safe. Is what they're going to do. And I just think this is sad, man. Sports shouldn't have these political things going on. They should put the best talent in front of the camera at all times. That's how you make your network get better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Fox Sports, let's face it, if they didn't have Shannon on that show, you don't know how that might work. Shannon brings in that black crowd. He brings in more people because people love Shannon. Skip, you just had Skip and somebody else, Marcellus Wiley or something like that, it wouldn't have worked. So you got to put your talent in front of the TV. I mean, I'll just watch the TNT documentary on the Inside the NBA cast.
Awesome show.
That is one of the most wonderful documentaries I've ever seen. It's always a great show. They put together the talent to be out there, and that's what you want. Because TNT ain't bigger than ESPN, but that show is constantly in the talks of best show, best production, all that stuff. So it was beautiful to see that, and obviously ESPN ain't kumbaya. So what's your take?
I don't think anything's gonna happen to Rachel Nichols except, like you said, slap on the hand. Don't let that happen anymore. Will it make Maria leave? It may force ESPN to get rid of $5 million she's asking for. So we'll see what ESPN does. I think if Maria leaves and it's not mutual, this could be a bad look because I'm not trying to watch Rachel Nichols. I'm good. Like I have a hard time watching The Jump as it is. Richard Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Richard Jefferson seems like the corniest dude on TV half the time. So I don't run to watch The Jump. I watch the Get Up show. I like Greenie, but I'm good on Rachel. She just seems like a marginal journalist who knows basketball. Mm-hmm. She has a rapport with players, but I'm cool on her. Now Maria, she's shot to the top. She's played the sport. She's played volleyball at a high level. She's an athlete, and her rapport with athletes is not phony. It's one of a place of I know where you're coming from. So I believe her talent got her to where she is, not her skin color. Her skin color didn't hurt, I will say that, but she is actually very good. So I think it's, unfortunate now. Had Maria said something about Rachel in the same grain, then she'd have been out of there. So, or made to apologize, a written, I believe Rachel had a pretty, weak apology or whatever. You only apologize because you got caught. So, but I don't think this will cause Maria to want to stay or go. I still think for her it's a contractual thing, and she can easily go to, another network because her name is, this might even helped her out with negotiations, and that now her name is so popular in the streets as far as the next big Robin Roberts type of sportscaster. She could call her own shot. She could go elsewhere. She could go to Fox. She could. I mean, Fox would jump at it. I was at Fox Sports 1 when they tried to compete with ESPN Sports Center. When they had a 24-hour network, I was an editor at Fox Sports 1. And they hired these comedians to be sportscasters. And I'm like, you can't hire comedians to be sportscasters.
Or Canadians.
Or Canadians, period. No, they were really Canadians. They were Canadians. They were Canadians, and they were comedians. And their show just was just not good. And it just wasn't genuine. It was just, fabricated. But in this case right here, Maria Taylor, she has talent. So I think she'll be fine. And I would not be surprised if she gets the money she's asking for at ESPN. And they will just have to find a way to make these two young ladies work in the same network. They won't be working together, but I think there's a place for them both. I don't think they're going to get rid of Rachel. They're going to try to retain Maria. I think earlier in the show, Mark Michelson said controversy sells. So I know that we're interested, and we'll see what they do with it. I don't know. It's she said something she shouldn't have said. And this is last year. In the meantime, they're still doing the job, and the games go on. What do you say? Chi-Town Mo said there's a shooting outside of Knott's Berry Farm tonight. Check your people if you know anybody out there tonight. Oh Lord, I thought my nephew loves going to Knott's Berry Farm. Don't start that mess, y'all. They're gonna have another shutdown. I got some Twitch. Daniel DV3 from Twitch says salute from Mexico. Appreciate you, man. Go UCLA. Go Bruins. Appreciate that, Daniel, on Twitch. Rio said Rachel Nichols was a curveball to me, just to show that people can only hide for so long. Very disappointing. She was a curveball to Rio. Ryan said our skin color not hurting is considered a plus. This is America. Yeah.
It's catch-22 on that one. Yeah. Sometimes our skin can hurt because you can get a person of non-color that can do the same exact thing that you do as a person of color, and they'll get the slap on the wrist, and you'll get the kick in the butt. So, it's but different types of crimes when it comes to different type of punishment when it comes to the crimes.
Well, I'm like, I know some instances, some hires are affirmative action, but I always say, how many times were we overlooked? How many times were you discriminated against? How many times were you just not even considered? I played in a golf tournament today with my friend Ray Domingo and some other guys, and I believe I was one of two people of color in the entire tournament. And luckily, it was a golf tournament and it's no big deal. But just kind of like, there was no melanin in the entire tournament. And it's like, wow, this is 2021 and we still have this separation, this big, difference in like this environment, society, following. It was a charity event. And I walked up to the table to get checked in, and it was almost a feeling of, may we help you? Like, yeah, I'm here to check in. And then like, are you sure you're in the right place? And I was kind of like, yeah. And then one lady recognized me, which kind of made everybody cool. And before that, they were like, are you in the right place? I said, yeah, I'm here with the Domingo party. And she starts looking for my name. She can't find it. And luckily, the other lady's like, hey, Anthony, how are you? And then she was like, oh, you know him. Okay, it's all good. I'm like, wow. Wow. But, those small little things still happen. It's still happening. It's still going on. It is what it is. We can't change that. All we can do is help these people understand that equity is needed across the board. Rio said the question is, why even say that in public if it was a diversity hire? Why would you white woman say it wasn't? I think it was something she didn't want to be spread. I think it was a conversation that was recorded. So that's what that was.
But she forgot what they said. She forgot to turn her Zoom off, and Zoom records every little thing you say.
Yeah, it does. You talking about your students? You talking about your students when they get off the Zoom? Boy, that student, man, she drive me crazy. I'm still here, Mr. McElroy.
Nope, I said it to their face. Who are you driving me crazy? We was in class right now. We have a problem.
Yeah, she was looking for Jamal at the registration table. So with that segue, are sports better with black faces? Sports better?
What say y'all, 1500s? What y'all think? Is sports better with blackface? I mean, because when we look at it, tennis became extra big with Serena and Venus. It blew up. Tiger Woods and golf, it blew up. You know, boxing. I mean, when we look at boxing, you know, think about in the past 30 years, who have been the most talked about boxers? Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather. There's been guys of color. So, Muhammad Ali is 40 years ago, honey, almost 50. What up, son?
Man, we got Covorte in the house. It's Covorte. It's the man formerly known as Covorte, Kusanti Abdul Salam, a.k.a. Andy Colbert.
The chicken hawk.
Don't take me to the club. Give me the money. Andy Colbert.
Chicken
Recruiting
hawk.
trip.
Yeah, so
I'm not going out. Give me the money. Kusanti Abdul Salam.
Yeah, so I mean, I think when we add black faces to it, I mean, like, say, like if Sha'Carri was white, would it have carried so much weight? The flamboyancy, you know, the look, the flair, the flash. You know, I don't know. I don't think so, because it doesn't seem like that's what they want to show. You know, we had a white girl running the 100 with a purple wig on and long nails and tattoos. I don't think that would get the attention that having, you know, a Sha'Carri the way she is out there. You know, so I think like when we throw blackface in sports, it adds a little bit of element of can that person always is this person as good as they are, or there's a lot of people rooting against them. They want to see them be defeated. They want to see them knocked off that pedestal. I think it makes sports a little bit more interesting. I mean, when we look at the Bird Magic thing, how they saved the NBA in the 80s, I think that was one of the things. Can this black player be better than the white player? And this white player can be generally said is the best player in the world at this time. Is this black player better than him? So I think when you throw blackface into sports, it just makes things better. I mean, even when you look at the Euros, I mean, these European teams, France's whole team is dang near black. Germany got black players. Switzerland got black players. Denmark had black players. Finland had black players. It makes it a little bit more interesting. Like you're drawing people in because they see, oh shoot, there's a black player out there. Let me take a look and see what he can do. So I think that when you start throwing a lot of black faces in these sports, I mean, look at our girl Simone Biles. I mean, I ain't interested in gymnastics like that. I don't want to see a bunch of midgets running around doing flips. But she's so dominant.
That's a bad word now, man. You gonna get us shut down. You gonna get us shut down.
I'm sorry, little person. I'm sorry.
You so inappropriate, Jim.
But I mean, I just love that when you throw, especially when we talk about Black Girl Magic. Black Girl Magic is very, very big out there, man. Very, very big. So when we throw blackface in there, it drives the sport up. People want to see it more. NASCAR, Bubba Wallace. Black people wasn't watching NASCAR like that. Bubba Wallace started racing. Boy, black people at the track now. So it's how it is.
What about the unicorn though? Like, is it the same the other way around? Like, I appreciate Matt Connaughton when he dunks. I appreciate, a white guy that can beatbox. You know, I don't know, any arena of entertainment where I see a outlier or a unicorn. That's interesting to me. I know we can dominate every sport. Rio said we're gonna dominate cornhole next. I know we can do anything. It's just putting our mind to it, and do we want to do it? We don't see very many brothers playing hockey because it's cold. I don't want to be cold, and I don't want to ice skate. Yeah, I'm not. I just know we add flavor and style to every sport we participate in, and it's interesting and it's intriguing, and it's at the end of the day, what are sports? Entertainment. It's a pastime, a way to pass time besides everyone going to work every day 9 to 5, and they need a release. It's a sport. So we have boxing, UFC, mixed martial arts, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, tennis, all these different sports, and we're good at them because it takes God-given ability, which we have. And I believe Jimmy the Greek said it best back in the day when he got in trouble. We need some speed. We need some brothers on the team. And it's just what it is. I think we do add to it. Now, with that being said, what we saw with Sha'Carri Richardson and how we felt that she was being isolated because of her brash nature, her being the black girl magic, and she might tear the Olympics up, get her up out of here. If all the black athletes in the Olympics protested and did not participate, how bland, how vanilla will these Olympics be? From every country, with all the melanin being sprinkled in these different countries, it would not be as intriguing, man. I think every nationality, every origin, every culture can appreciate diversity when it comes to you want to play against the best, right? Then you want the best playing. You don't want to have the old first NBA footage of all white guys playing. The first thing you say is there's no brothers playing, or the MLB without the Negro League players playing. You're like, they ain't got the best players aren't playing. You want to see the best versus the best, and I think that's what we get when you have equity across sports, man. Just let everybody that can play. Don't discriminate. You never know till you know. Like I said, we can take over swimming. It's just not something that we were brought up to do. It's a country club sport, just like golf and tennis. It's not what we're brought up to do until we break those barriers. So I do believe we add flavor, style, intrigue, interest, personal story, relatability, all those things add when you add diversity to the sport. So I believe we are a must. Not only is it a good thing, it's an absolute must that we have diversity in these sports, man. 'Cause I ain't watched golf since Tiger stopped playing. I tried to watch the match with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, but I just watched the highlight. I didn't care about watching it live.
Yeah.
Kusanti said the problem is that blacks are being exploited. We've always been exploited. Even in the NCAA, when we took those scholarships, we were being exploited. We were told that these scholarships were worth the blood, sweat, and tears of us going to school for free. Like it was a fair exchange, no robbery. Well, how many of our brothers didn't get their degree?
Yep.
And weren't pushed to get it. They were like, hope you get it. Good luck. Look to the guy to the left. Look to the guy to the right. They're not going to be here. And that was, who was that? Ryan Hickson. And I had two guys next to me and they didn't graduate. So they were not lying. It was Eric Holcomb. It was Eric Holcomb on this side. And who else was it? Was it T. Ford? Somebody else. And they didn't finish school. So, hey, man. Exploitation at its finest. Let's see. Rio says, all right. Black Girl Magic segment, man. All right, before we get out of here, man. The Spelling Bee champion, Zalia Avant-Garde. Not only is she a wizard when it comes to spelling, she is also a world record holder with The Rock in basketball. I have video. Let's see if I can pull it up. If y'all haven't seen it, she's a master. Where's my videos? Saved videos. All right, so
a Renaissance woman, brains.
So she's
athleticism.
She's here riding a unicycle, dribbling a basketball. Now she's dribbling a basketball with 3 juggle balls. I hope this is some footage of her actually playing, because she got skills too. And I believe, yeah, she is a true Renaissance woman, Black Girl Magic at its finest. Congratulations on winning the Scripps Spelling Bee and riding a unicycle. I can't handle the ball like that. She is standing on 2 basketballs Wow. Eighth grader. All right, man. Let's get.
Man, that's amazing, man. Shoot, I mean, when I know when I came into the house yesterday after practice, my wife was showing me her. We kept rewinding the TV even though I'm tired. This young black girl, look what she did. I mean, you're proud of it, man, because in education sometimes, man, we deal with students who are, not very interested in in the academic part of school. They're there for the social, they're there for the sports. And I mean, to be a person who in the second grade was held out of a spelling bee challenge between classes because my spelling was not strong enough. My teacher told me to go to another class and that I was sick that day so she wouldn't lose. To see this young black girl do that is absolutely amazing to me. I'm still not the strongest of spellers in the world. The way I sound words out, it don't match how they're spelled out. So, it happens that way, man. I'm so proud of that young black girl. She's the first African American to do it too, which is absolutely amazing. And the fact that that's not her number one thing. Her number one thing is playing sports, and she cavalierly just a great speller. So that's amazing for this young lady. So I'm proud of her.
She got a deep bag of handles too. As you watch the video on the side, my God, she got mad handles. So I can't dribble like her or spell like her. So I'm feeling a little bit inadequate. I'm feeling a little bit insecure right now, a little inadequate of my game. Look at this handle, man. And Jay. That's our first miss.
And she got a little size to her,
right.
too.
She says she wants to go to Harvard, and I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. She's going to play basketball, and she's going to be whatever she wants to be, man. Kusanti says, give a shout out to my son, Harlem. He's 4.5 years old. Harlem, what it do? Little
Harlem in the house.
Baby Covorte.
Harlem World.
Harlem World in the house, man. 4.5. Remember when you were small, that half was serious. That half, do not rob me of my half. I've been 4 for a half of the year. Give it to me. I'm almost 5. Matter of fact, I'm about to go to kindergarten in this bad boy. I believe at 4.5, you're getting ready for kindergarten.
Yep, ready for kindergarten. You were probably in pre-K.
And you might be.
But nowadays they got TK.
Now, is he going to be the next Pasadena Muir starting quarterback, number 10? Is that going to happen? The Chicken Hawk. He wasn't the Dookie head freshman. That was Glenn Tompkins. What was Kusanti's nickname from AJ Kristoff? Was it the Pissant freshman? The Pissant freshman. He said, how do you know? He said, how do you know them? Oh man, we got some stories to tell about your daddy.
Kusanti was my host.
Yeah, the Chicken Hawk. All you need to know is he recovered the fumble in one of the greatest games in the history of the UCLA versus USC rivalry.
Yes, he did.
He was trying to take it to the crib.
Ain't got a pick in that game.
Oh, man, he was big. Way big. I mean, and then I believe he got more playing time earlier than anybody expected, and he had that nasty number 39.
39. No, he looked nasty.
That was
too.
Nasty. Oh, man, I was like, please give him number 10. When Travis graduated, I said, please give Kusanti number 10. He don't look right in that 39. Oh, man. He looks so much better in number 10. That was tragic. All right, man. What you got, man? On our way out, final words.
Man, final words is summertime. You know what I'm saying? Please, people, sit back, relax. If you got any time off, man, relax, man. It's we're not out of the thick of things right now, but when you get that time to relax, man, take it all in, relax, breathe, meditate, think about some of your next moves that you want to do, but make sure you relax. A lot of us are getting a little bit long in the tooth. We're getting to those ages where, our health is important. One of the main things is our mental health and getting a lot of rest. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves, man. Eat right, work out if you can, but make sure you get enough rest and take care of your mental health, man, because a lot of people, life is tough. It's a struggle. If you ain't got your mental health together, it's going to make it that much worse. So, man, take care of yourselves.
I second that motion, man. I need to get some rest myself. Still haven't got acclimated to the time. I was in DC last week, moving my daughter into Howard University. HU, Rodney Saucer can appreciate that as a HU alumni, the Bison. Hey, man, we gonna be out. I ain't got nothing profound to say except love each other. We will holler at y'all. Stay blessed. Stay out them streets if you can avoid them. Don't be out there unnecessarily, willy-nilly, as we used to say. Take care of yourselves, man. Take care of each other, and we'll holler at y'all next week. 1585, man. Peace out.
Peace out.
Who banging right there? Remember that Kusanti? 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
Before practice, Theo on the beat. Drive drop.
Man, whatever happened to Theo?
Pre-practice bagging. When E. Scott would say something ignorant, and then everybody just start bagging on each other.
Good time.
Good time, man. Good time. Like Jim Mama So Strong. And they would say, Kusanti Mama So Strong. And he'd say, oh, Cobbs, your mama so strong. And they would go real bad after that.
Oh man, it would go. It would never went left though. That's the thing.
No, it was all love, man. All love. But it was true. Your mama was strong. She was strong, man.
And see everybody mama on Saturday giving out hugs like we never said nothing about.
No, that's a different person. Imaginary. Your mama. I saw your mom in the weight room hitting weights with Coach Yox with a black mouthpiece on and black socks. She's power clinging. 325. It was Paul Guidry and your mama in there power clinging from the ground. Hardcore, man. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Later, y'all.